Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation is Maj Mahalla Panjwa. Tun Jalnidh hum meen tumhare, Tera naam boond hum chatrik tikhare. Tumri aas pyasa tumri, तुम ही संग मन लीना जियो. ज्यों बारिक पी खीर अगावै, ज्यों निर्धन तन तेख सुख पावै. त्रिखावंत जल पीवत ठंडा, त्यों हर रंग संग एह मन पीना जियो. ज्यों अंधियारै दीपक परगासा, परता चितवत पूर्ण आसा. मिल प्रीतम ज्यों होत आनंदा, त्यों हर रंग मन रंगीना जियो. संतन मोको हर मार्ग पाया, साध कृपाल हर रंग गिझाया. हर हमरा हम हर के दासे, नानक शब्द गुरु सच दीना जियो. So in this passage, the Guru begins by giving us guidance on our relationship to the Har Self. And he begins by saying, Tun Jalnidh hum Meen tumhare. You are the life-giving water, and we, your creatures, are the fish. Right away, the indication is that we are the same. And then he goes on to say, we are like the rainbird yearning for the drop of your awareness. That is our current state. Even though we are the same, we are not aware of it. We yearn for that awareness. That is our condition. And for that, we depend on you. Tumri aas pyasa tumri, tum hi sang man leena jiyo. So, we are indeed like the Har, but we are yearning for that awareness because in our natural state, we don't know that. And we depend on you, Creator, Enlightener, to give us that education. And then there are two sections where the Guru actually gives us examples to drive the point home. Just as drinking milk, he tells us, brings satisfaction to a child, Jio barak pi kheer aghave, just as wealth brings comfort to the poor, Jio nirdhan dhan dekh sukh pave. And just as a parched throat is quenched with cold water, trikavant jal pivat thanda, so does the mind find fulfillment in immersion with its own self. Tyon har sang e man peena jiyo. And then some more illustrations. Jiyo andhyare deepak pargasa. Just like light dispels darkness, like a spouse is filled with anticipation of union, bharta chitvat puran asa. In the same way, mil pritam jo hod ananda, tyon har rang man rangina jiyo. In the same way, the mind is filled with bliss when united with its Har Self. And then, in conclusion, we are given a sense of how this comes about. Santan moko har marg paya. So this is santan in plural. Again, a state of mind, but here referring to the congregation of perfected ones. A sangat, a real sangat. That shows us the way to the Har Self, but in the presence of the perfect enlightener, the Sad. Sad Kripal Har Sang Gijaya. This is the a culturalization of the mind with knowledge. Har sang gijaya. And then, says Nanak, is the truth of the Shabad Guru, the creator and creation revealed. And what is that truth? It is this, that the Har Self is my essence, that I am indeed a servant to the Har Self. In other words, I'm here to carry out, as a co-creator, the objective of humanity. So this is how we ought to think about the Shabad. The interesting thing here is that the fifth Nanak, Guru Arjan, he uses the term Gijaya to explain how the enlightener works on our mind. Gijaya means to become familiar with or accustomed to, Gijjana. It is a repetitive process of a culturalization of the mind. And this is exactly the process of the Guru Granth Sahib. We have noticed that through repeated and varied emphasis, the enlightener seeks to disrupt our established patterns of behavior and thought, so that the mind gradually, through this breakthrough, acquires a sense of self and a larger vision of life. Sad Kirpal Har Sang Gijaya. And this is best done congregationally. Santan Moko Har Marg Paya. So life, in essence, is an endeavor for freedom from the ego self. What that means is this freedom comes from transforming the ego self into the Har self, so to speak. And Gurbani, of course, expresses this poetically in terms of a desire for union. Because the individual, although a self-contained center of experience, is not yet fully developed. It's the ego that needs to be developed to the point where it flips into the Har self. So the journey of life is a yearning for completion or union. Tumri aas pyasa tumri, tumhi sang man leena jiyo. So all desire and hope is pinned on this union. And of course we have seen several illustrations that the Guru has given us of what this yearning should look like or is. So there is yearning, followed by satiation, followed by transformation and bliss. So at the heart of the matter is desire. Longing is what stirs movement within us. Without longing or desire, we might as well be dead. And indeed, life is longing and desire, without which freedom and the movement towards that union would not happen. But in our primitive state, in our undeveloped ego state, desire is like a wildfire, out of control. So the challenge is to first learn to form desires meaningfully. In other words, to control this energy and then birthing new forms from the perspective of Gurmat. And so then eventually the desire for perfection becomes permanent. And we saw this in the previous passages, and specifically the previous passage, that perfection is not a destination, but a process. And that is the process that we are engaged in on a day-to-day basis, or at any rate, we should be based in our lives on. And with those thoughts, until the next time, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.